Last but not least, our 11th finalist is from Markham, Ontario, outside Toronto. Please welcome Jenny Charney. Jenny. How are you, dear? Now, I want to just tell a quick little story before I let her speak. I was invited to go to Toronto to speak to 200 so-odd entrepreneurs in Toronto about startups in Toronto. And when we got into Q&A, they were complaining about that there's no startup capital. There's no investment dollars, there's no seed capital in Toronto. And they were complaining pretty aggressively, right? And so I said, well, you know, you guys, just all you had to do, there's $5 million waiting for you 45 minutes down the road in Buffalo. Why did any of you apply for the 43North business plan competition? They all looked and one arm went up. And it was Jenny, and she said, I did, and I'm a semi-finalist. And I knew that she was actually a finalist, but I didn't tell her that at the time. But she applied, and there was literally 200 people in that room. None of them applied. She stood up, and they all looked at like, what did we miss? And every one of them says, next year we're applying. So you're going to be our ambassador, and when you go back there and visit your friends in Toronto, you're going to tell them how great this is.
I will.
You're on your own now. Good luck.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I hope you saved some room for dessert. That's us. Now, I bet you've all had the fitting room blues, and we solved that problem. We start by modeling clothes using their actual CAD pattern designs and physical properties, and we model it into 3D. Now, you create your highly accurate avatar with your measurements, and then you can try on real clothes, see how they fit, where they're tight or loose with tension maps, just like that, and how they behave when you move, all in real time. Now, a bit about the team. My co-founders are actually my parents, so another family business. We've known each other for quite a while. And our skills are quite complementary. So I have a CFA charter, so I take care of the business side. Leon has a PhD in physics and math, so he leads the development team. And Irina, aside from being an engineer herself, is very creative, so she takes care of the design aspects. And we've been working on TriMirror for 4.5 years after successfully exiting our last company, which was also a social consumer website. So after selling that, we reinvested those proceeds of over $2 million into TriMirror. And then 2 years ago, we raised another $1 million through angel investment and Canada Media Fund. Now, we have a very flexible 20-person development team. They're basically rocket scientists because, you know what, they've done something that Fortune 500 companies have been trying to do for years and failed and gave up, which is real-time cloth simulation. And finally, we have international partners in the fashion and digital marketing spaces who help to sell our products around the world to their fashion clients. Now, if you wear clothes, you know how huge this market is. So the worldwide apparel retail market is over $1 trillion. But less than 11% of those clothes are bought online. So people are scared, conversion rates are low, and moreover, 35% of those clothes that are bought are returned, mostly due to bad fit. So it's very simple. We'll increase conversions, we'll decrease returns of clothes that don't fit with our virtual fitting room, and that's a multi-billion-dollar company. And our business model is very simple. It's license fees mostly, and to a smaller extent commissions. Now, I want to address a very fair comment that we got from a round 2 judge, which is that we spend a lot of time and money on R&D without having the clients along the way. Very simple reason for that. There have been so many companies over the last dozen years who have provided virtual fitting rooms but took shortcuts with their solutions. And they weren't accurate, they weren't helpful, and in the end, brands and retailers became disenchanted with virtual fitting as a whole. And you can see some examples here. For example, Fits.me uses a robot that changes shape depending on the measurements that you put in and gives you a photo of that static robot with a shirt on them. So there's no tension maps to show you where it's tight or loose. There's no animation to show you how it fits when you're actually moving around. Frankly, it's kind of boring. And Virtusize compares your favorite shirt laid flat with the shirt that you're shopping for. So it's basically just comparing the measurements of the garment without even taking into account the fabric properties. And then there's TrueFit, which compares size charts between different brands. And again, if you wear clothes, you know how inaccurate those size charts are. Even within my favorite brand, I have 4 to 5 different sizes depending on different properties. So we realized that we actually need to invest the time and money to create the real-time cloth simulation technology for it to be accurate and helpful to everyone, but also to be beautiful and animated and entertaining and fun. That's what we really needed to do. And so now that we've done that, we can reinvent virtual fitting as a whole. Now, we have two major developments since we first applied to 43North that I want to tell you about. The first is that we have a letter of intent and are currently negotiating a contract with a Dubai fashion retailer. So they're opening 36 stores over the next 2 years, department stores with 10,000 square feet each. And we're providing them with a complete solution. We're licensing multiple large screens for every store, multiple touch screens, an online virtual fitting room for their website, and they're licensing our 3D designer so that they can create 3D models of garments themselves. The other news is that we have a new paying client, FancyBedge.com, which is an online retailer with multiple brands on its website, and they're licensing our online virtual fitting room. So that's resulted in already upfront and ongoing monthly revenue, and you can see it up here so you can compare sizes side by side and tension maps and see how it all fits. Now, our future plans to build on these latest development. The first thing we're going to do is focus on business development and marketing of our existing products. So the website that you see right here, as well as the designer and the in-store application. In addition to licensing these products, we're going to add more brands to the TriMirror.com website affiliate model. Now, why this focus on business development? Well, we haven't done any in the past. Believe it or not, all of our clients and partners have come to us through word of mouth, unsolicited. So imagine the potential once we actually start investing in international fashion and technology conferences, sponsorships and contests for fashion lovers and so on. It's really going to be huge, and our vision is quite big indeed. We see millions of users trying on millions of clothes eventually, whether it's girls who love technology, whether it's women who are really busy, whether it's men who hate shopping and want a quick recommendation. The next thing we're going to do is focus on job creation in Buffalo. So we're going to hire programmers from the University of Buffalo Computer Science and Engineering Department. We're also going to hire fashion designers from the Buffalo State Fashion and Textile Technology Program. And we're already in contact with the chair of this program and already are exploring collaboration opportunities with her. Now, they're perfect because they've already been working with 3D body scanning and 3D design for a long time, and they've also been collaborating with some of our own partners like SciStream. So it's quite a perfect fit, actually. And if there are any students in the audience, please reach out to us. We'd love to work with you. Next thing we'll do is we'll expand our in-store application to Buffalo malls. It is another reason that we're so excited to be here in Buffalo to take advantage of this amazing industry. And as a Canadian, I know how popular these malls are. And I also know what kind of great effect Canadians have had on the local economy because of that. So that's supposed to grow in the next few years. We would like to be part of that. We would like to help that. Now, this video shows how popular these in-store installations are, especially when the avatar is life-size and you can control it with gesture control. Simply with a Kinect camera, you can make the avatar move with you, and you can navigate the user interface with your hands. So it's just a lot of fun. We actually ran a focus group this past summer to get feedback on our services, and the only negative feedback that we got is we don't have enough measurement inputs, and we actually offer quite a lot. So that just shows that people love to create really, really accurate avatars of themselves and play with the whole system for hours. So we're going to put these into Buffalo stores and malls for free in the beginning, just as a business development tool, and then we can license it going forward. We're going to do the exact same thing with a mobile app. So this video shows our working prototype, and we're going to hire the Buffalo programmers that I mentioned to complete the application. And then we can give it away to both sales associates in Buffalo stores and customers. And again, maybe for free in the beginning, and then we can license the white label application to them. Now you can see that because we use actual fabric properties of the garment and real-time cloth simulation, how interactive it is, right? And it's responsive and it's real. Nothing is pre-recorded, nothing is fake. Tension maps are all very real. And because of the touch interface of the mobile app, you can actually manipulate the fabric with your finger. And depending on the fabric properties, it will move differently. And now 3D designer. We're going to give this designer to the fashion students that I mentioned so that they can create 3D models of clothes and digitize garments as well. We're also going to be digitizing collections for the Buffalo clients, maybe for free in the beginning, and then we can license it to them the same way that we're doing to the Dubai retailer. And it's funny, we created this designer for ourselves originally, but then every client wanted it for themselves because they can use it to streamline their entire supply chain, from design to manufacturing to retailing. And now, more long-term, of course, there's so many more things we can do. We can scale our cloud server application to many locations around the world. So no matter where you are, whether you're trying on clothes on your browser or your mobile application, we can stream it to you instantaneously. We can scan your face and put it in 3D on your avatar so it can look exactly like you. Now, it's kind of futuristic, and a lot of clients are asking for this. We can also automate our 3D designer to make it even more streamlined for our clients and even easier to use. Now, guys, we haven't forgotten about you. Now, maybe this style is your style, and maybe it's not. Either case, you need to visualize it in advance. And you know what? With TriMirror, hold on to your pants. One thing I want to say in the end is that we're really looking forward to working with the 43North mentors. You see, we have this problem where all our clients want all these different things. They want the designer, they want the website, the mobile app, the InStore, now 3D facial scanning. And because our system is so versatile, we've been able to provide all of these products. But we would really like your help to focus going forward and help us revolutionize shopping, help us go beyond the point of no returns. Thank you, and I'd like to invite Len to join me for Q&A.
Hey, Dad. What's happening? You gotta be proud, huh?
Yeah, she did well.
I'm glad that I modeled for that one before. Did you see me? But you didn't tell me you were gonna take my shirt off. I mean, that was, geez. We didn't have that discussion. All right, questions. We'll start with Kenny Lair.
Well, I want to know how much he got paid for being the model. How much money do you think you need to raise till you go? You've got a lot of products there, maybe too many, but how much money do you think you need to raise to get to where you want to be?
I mean, we would really love to raise $20 million and achieve that vision that I talked about.
So I'll ask it another way. So to get to if you were doing a seed round now,
yeah.
How much do you think you need in a seed round?
Well, we have raised $1 million, over $1 million, just 2 years ago.
Okay.
And we are still, going on those.
You still have money in the bank for that?
We do, and that's in addition to the $2 million that we put in ourselves.
Okay. So, and then for an A round, how much do you think to take you the next couple of years?
I think $5 million would be amazing to scale, and again, mostly focus on marketing and scaling around the world, because the R&D is done. That's where the bulk of the money went. So really, it's even more about connections than money at this point. If we can meet, mentors and investors who can introduce us to fashion brands and retailers, that would really be valuable.
I'm not familiar with who else does this in the industry. Is there a lot of competition?
I mean, I covered 3 main ones.
Right.
And there are countless others that do augmented reality, for example, which is just, you see a photo of yourself and then a photo of the garment superimposed on you, and it moves with you, but there's no fitting. So it's like holding a hanger in front of yourself. There are countless like that. There are so many that compare size charts. One major one was actually just purchased by eBay a few months ago. That was Physix. But since they acquired them, they became exclusive to eBay, and some of our own clients have come through that. So we've benefited from that, actually.
So basically, this is a tech company, and you want to license the tech.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Not a destination site.
It's mostly a B2B, but
Right.
More long term, we would love for it to be more of a game for consumers, but that's much more long term. B2B, I think, is the way in the beginning.
Okay. Thanks, Jordy.
Esther, I can see you're dying to ask a question.
Sure.
So what's really fascinating is there's this, people go shopping, the ones that the companies want, they go shopping for fun. And so in a sense, you're able to make online shopping more fun.
Yes.
What I don't quite understand is you go to the physical store to get measured for that experience, then do you have some, and I guess it all depends on how people build out the applications, and Nordstrom would do it differently, but is the notion that then I will have my avatar and I can go to different vendors, use the same avatar?
Exactly. You have your user ID, and you use it everywhere that we've modeled the clothes for them. And actually, the store, it's interesting because in the beginning, we were really focused on e-commerce, and that is still our core. However, clients really wanted the in-store as well, and we were asking them why they're so focused on that. And partly it's because they want to engage people to come in. So the Dubai retailer, for example, they're doing all kinds of things over there to get people in the store. They have karaoke outside the store. They have all kinds of things. So this is not just a utilitarian tool. Because we made it fun and beautiful, entertaining, it can be used to get people in the store once they're shopping, but also give them the benefit of not going into the fitting room.
And then what is the cost, not so much in dollars, but in time? I have a dress that I make as a manufacturer.
Yep.
It's probably pretty easy to do it, to kind of create it virtually in different sizes. There are different fabrics. I mean, is this a $1 per model expense, or is it $1,000 per? What's the
Right.
What are the economics of it to the creator of the garments per garment?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So there are two ways that we do it. One is per garment, and all we need is either the CAD pattern design, which is digital, which all large brands have, or the physical sample to reverse engineer that design if for whatever reason they don't have it.
And also the material, presumably.
Yes, yes. Well, if it's the CAD design, they have those specs of the material, and they also all have, all of the grading rules for all the sizes, how those garments change per size. The other way is we license our designer to them. So especially for, retailers with thousands, hundreds of thousands of garments every season, they license it, they put it as part of their supply chain, as part of their design process. And that makes it even easier, so it's just a license.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know, I think there's a lot of people like me, I gain and lose 5 pounds every week. I change, I fluctuate, from month to month. So how do you get across the confidence in the consumer that the measurements or the body type is really correct? Because I may feel like shopping, at 1 o'clock in the morning or at 2 or any time of the day. But I may be 5 pounds more than I was, the last time I was online shopping. So how do you get across that idea and convince people that it's accurate when they're trying on virtually the clothes?
Well, there are also 2 ways to go about that. One, the most accurate, is when we work with 3D body scanning companies. So if a retailer has a physical location, they often like to have that in the store. So you go in, you get scanned, it takes just a few seconds, then you're out.
But then like 3 weeks later, I'm a different size.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess if you know that about yourself, you'd have to get scanned again.
So that's what I'm asking. So you have to, every time you would have to go back and get rescanned or enter in your measurements?
If I may jump in, if you know the fluctuation of your weight, it can be incorporated into the formula. We can adjust, measurements. Basically, in theory, there is very comprehensive statistics available on in the United States and Europe and so on, where you can basically enter your weight, height, age, and other criteria and get pretty accurate, statistic average shape and figure and measurements. And you can also narrow it down with measurement, like basic measurements, bust, hips, waist, to narrow it down. So just a simple measurement tape, quickly enter, type it in, that's it.
Yeah, but I like the idea of incorporating the fluctuations into the algorithm.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Esther?
So we've talked about taking existing clothes and fitting them to people. There must be somebody who's also come to you and said, I'd like to be able to produce custom-sized things for people.
Oh yes, quite a bit. So we have a lot of interest, especially for online made-to-measure brands and retailers, especially from Italy, where they make suits and shirts and things like that. Yes, absolutely. So you can actually visualize the design as you go. Yeah, it's a great idea.
There are so many applications we can talk for hours. Uniform is another application. You body scan a person, all information goes into centralized computer, and this uniform will be created exactly for this particular person. It can be military, it can be, police, sports, whatever. Yeah.
Custom made. Randall?
I think that the tech obviously is really interesting. I want to kind of drill on sales for this to really maximize its potential. In some ways, it needs to be the industry standard, where if I've gone through the trouble of scanning myself, whether I go to Walmart or Gap or whatever site I go to, I want to be able to use this there. So what's the plan to make this the industry standard, because I would think a slow rollout probably is not in your favor, because to the extent it works, somebody else can jump in and try to be that standard.
Right. Well, we think it's pretty simple. The one first major retailer, mass market retailer that will do it will set the standard, because everyone else will want to keep up. The kind of media attention alone that will result from accurate virtual fitting being employed in a store will get people's loyalty and just excitement. So everybody else will want to do it too. You know, they won't be shy anymore, basically, once they see the showcase.
David?
I have a question. For a fitting that's too tight and the skin turns purple, does it automatically refer you to a plastic surgeon, perhaps? Or could it?
It's a lead gen business.
Bijan, you're up.
Esther asked the questions I was kind of thinking about. I mean, the only thing I'm thinking about is you know, we've seen a lot of companies try to sell technology to e-commerce companies, and it's a tough road. I mean, it's a lot of customers, their willingness to pay. Do they have to be convinced it's going to create, you know, upsell capabilities, reduce customer service? If you know, there's a lot of different ways that these folks think about these capabilities, and coming up with a fair pricing model. You know, we haven't seen a lot of examples of that. So have you thought about, you know, ways to you know, one way to kind of make it easier for yourself is that it's self-serve, so you don't have to have a high cost of sales model. So at the very least, if the pricing has to come down, you didn't incur a big go-to-market expense. Or maybe there's another thing you've just heard, they're going to pay a lot, and my concern isn't really warranted. But at least that's been our experience, is that selling technology to e-commerce folks is not the easiest thing to do.
I'm actually glad that you asked that, because one of our news that I didn't have time to mention is a brand new e-commerce widget, which is much more economical than our old one. So the original one was really high-tech because of the real-time animation and interactivity. It was also a little bit costly for the smaller e-commerce guys. And so we developed this really straightforward, simple one that I showed for FancyBedge.com, which has more of a static fitting focus, more of the different angles but static images. And then afterwards you can ask for a video, but it's not real time. It has been recording while you look at the photos.
Yeah.
And so it's much more economical, and that way we can capture all of those small boutiques and retailers, of which there are hundreds of thousands. I don't know, does that answer your question?
Last comment. Go ahead.
Yes, just to add to what Jenny just said, there is another aspect that I strongly believe is viral marketing of this thing, is to create application and make women and girls around the world become our advocate and evangelists. So because it would be fun to play with it, to create. They have fun creating avatars, sharing it, playing with all the clothes. That's a given. And we know that girls are playing with virtual fitting rooms and downloading millions and millions of these applications. So once we'll get a critical mass of these girls and young women playing with it, I'm sure there will be first and maybe much more big brands who would like to participate in this market. So it's like chicken and egg.
Great.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Johnny, thank you very much. Well done.